Welcome back once again. So now we shall continue with the four components of transformational leader. The first one is, as you can see, is talking about idealized influence. The second one is talking about inspirational motivation. The third one is actually intellectual stimulation. And the last one is individualized consideration. Consideration. Huh? So let's go with the first one. Idealized influence. Idealized influence. So what does it mean when it comes to idealized influence? Idealized influence means you, as a leader, you walk the talk. All right. So here's an explanation of the first I. As you can see, so we shall actually start off here with the first person. Now stand up and read like you are the instructor. Come.
Idealized influence. Leaders act as role models, earning trust and respect. Core idea, walk the talk, leading through values and integrity. The impact, employees admire and want to emulate these leaders. Examples such as Elon Musk, Tesla, SpaceX.
Mhm.
Sets ambitious goals and actively participates in company innovation.
Okay. So come. Thank you very much. So this is talking about in terms of idealized influence. So for you to be a good transformational leader, you must be the person that the others look up to. That means you have to walk the talk. Say example, you are a leader and you have got 4 people working under you. If I expect you to come into work on time, I, as the leader, must come into work on time. If I'm actually expecting you to actually have a 1 hour lunch break, then I cannot go and have 2 hours lunch break as the leader. So I want to do the things the right way. I want to walk the talk. That means do what I say. Not talk west and walk east. You know, talk west, walk east. That means I say something for you to do, but I do the opposite. So that's talk west, walk east. So to be an idealized influence to your people. So when we talk about that, is everybody looks up to you. Everybody wants to become you. Now, when you are actually working here, who is your role model? Do you have a role model? You want to be like that person. Do you have one? When you just joined this company, is there anybody in your company that you want to become like that person? What about you, Simon? Do you have a role model that you actually want to follow? A person. Who is the role model for you?
It's a celebrity, right?
Well, within the organization here itself, do you have a role model? Who is the role model? May I know?
My boss, Nelson.
Nelson. Okay, so Nelson is your role model. Okay, so basically you look up to him, right? So if Nelson wants to actually make sure that you do the right things, so Nelson himself has got to do the right things so that the people that are following him will actually see as the correct thing. So that's called idealized influence. Now, a lot of people, they actually get a little bit confused with idealized influence. Idealized influence means basically telling people what to do. Idealized influence is actually you showing them by your own actions. So that's the meaning of idealized influence. Now let's go to the next one. The next one is interesting. Okay. Inspirational motivation. Come, it's your turn to read now. Stand up and give a nice presentation.
Inspirational motivation, the ability to inspire and energize team with a compelling vision. Core idea is leader uplift, challenge and encourage people to exceed expectations. impact, boost moral, commitments, and performance. Example, Tony Fernandez, Asia Gym, build a strong work ethics to inspire his organization to be a global talent.
Okay, so that's just to give you an example of someone who is very inspirational. So I'm going to share with you a little bit and then you are going to tell me. So I'm going to actually do a role play here of 2 sessions and then you tell me which, okay? So Simon, you are in sales, right? And you report to Nelson. All right, so we'll just write Nelson's name here. Okay, and then you got okay. So now we forget about Simon reporting to Nelson, just for a role play so that I can demonstrate to you, right? So let's say I report to Nelson, and all 5 of you here report to me. Okay? So now I'm going to give you same scenario delivered 2 different ways. And a lot of times, this is what's going to happen. Okay, so we've got Fiza here, Alvin here, and the 2 gentlemen here. So now I'm going to actually thinking in my head that I'm going to motivate you. So I'm going to motivate you. So let's just say all here are in the sales team. All 5 of you on the sales team. I am the sales, what's Simon's position? Sales director. Okay. Okay, let's just say Simon, Nelson is the sales director. I am the sales manager reporting to Nelson. And then all 5 of you here. There should be 5, right? Okay, 5 of you all are here. So scenario 1, and then I will do scenario 2, right? Hi guys, thank you very much for coming. I really appreciate all the sales team here today. I know that all of y'all are fasting, except my good friend Simon here. I just had a very, very long meeting with Nelson, and Nelson is very worried about our sales target because it looks like we are not actually achieving it. So it's important that now we are going to achieve it. So do you think that, we can achieve our sales target? Do you think we can? Can? All right. So let's just, Nelson is concerned, because he was actually going through the individual figures here. The only one that's basically off target is the 2 of the ladies here. And these 2 gentlemen are just on target. And Simon here is slightly above target. So the concern here is if we keep maintaining like this, we will not achieve our target for this year. Do you want to disappoint Simon? Do you want to disappoint Nelson? Do you think that we should all work harder? Yes? Do you think we should work harder? Do you think that, we want to make sure, because he's a nice boss, right? So I don't think we want to disappoint Nelson. So it's important that we all try to work harder. Can we all work harder? All right. So let's cut to that now. The question is, a lot of people do it this way. And a lot of people think what they did was motivation. So do you think I motivated you? 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 Okay. So now I'm going to show you a session 2. Same thing, 5 of you all are the salespeople. Nelson is the sales director. I am the sales manager. Okay. So in session 1, how many times did I mention Nelson's name? Can you tell me? How many times do you think I mentioned Nelson's name? 7. Simon, how many times do you think I mentioned Nelson's name? 5. All right. So you notice that I mentioned the boss name many times, right? And I was trying to motivate you. Now I'll show you a second session. Ready? All right. Guys, thank you very much for coming today. I'm sure all of you are excited because we are close to our targets, but the two ladies here are slightly below. Slightly below. But I'm so confident that you can achieve it. The important thing is, are you confident you can do it yourself? Fantastic. Let's give her a big round of applause. And the one that's leading ahead a little bit, slightly higher, is Simon. So let's give Simon a big round of applause. And these two gentlemen, you are on target, but we need to push ourselves. Now, if we actually push ourselves a little bit more, we will all be able to hit our targets. And when we hit our targets, what do we get? What do you get when you achieve your target? I'm sure you will get a better payout. Am I right? You get a better payout? Now, if you got a better payout, what will you do with that money? Spend more on what? What would you actually do with the extra bonus that you get for achieving your target? Huh? Yeah, what would you spend? What would you actually do? Food and eat. Well, that's normal. What would you do? What extra things would you do with the extra money you have? Kahwin cepat. Okay, can also. Huh? So it's very important. And what would you do with the extra money? Savings. Yes. Put it in the bank. All right. What would you do with the extra money by achieving your sales target? Invest. And what would you invest in, Simon? In stocks. What is in your mind in terms of stock that you want to invest in? Few in mind. Just give me one name. NVIDIA. Okay. NVIDIA. Okay. Right. And what would you do with the extra money? Going for holiday. Holiday. Where would you go? Japan. All right. The lady that likes everything Japanese. Huh? So it's important that we all achieve our targets because we've got this beautiful lady who wants to go to Japan. He wants to get married. And here he wants to put it in the bank. And over there, Simon would actually want to invest in additional stocks in NVIDIA. So it's important that all of us do it together. Then we can all actually have the extra bonus. So it's important that we work hard. Do you think it's important that we work hard? Do you think it's important that we actually achieve our targets? Each of us achieve our targets, we can actually achieve our personal goals. So it's important that we do it. So the important thing is, do you believe we can do it? Fantastic. Give yourselves a big round and let's go out there and work harder. Okay. Session 2. How many times did I mention his name? How many times? 0. So if you notice, the first session was I tried to drive performance out of you by manipulating you to do a good performance for this guy. Because I mentioned it many times. I said, don't disappoint the boss. The second time is motivation. Because driving the performance out of you for your benefit. You can see the difference? A lot of managers will use the first star. They will not use the second star. So that's where you talk about motivation and manipulation. Manipulation is getting performance out of someone for another person's needs. Motivation is getting a performance out of someone for their own needs. So that's where you talk about inspirational motivation. So between the two sessions, which one inspired you? First one or second one? Yeah. So if you actually have the second one, you'll be very happy, right? Yeah. So that's what we talk about, inspirational motivation. And this guy is very good at that. He's very good at that. So it cascades down to the managers who also can deliver the same thing. So that's how they actually build up the company from 2 aircraft to 200 airplanes, because they can inspire the staff to make a small airline become the world's global competitor. So that's how you actually inspire people. Now, do you think what I did, can you do it? Can. All you need to do is practice. Same like lah, kalau I suruh you baca berita. Baca berita. Senang atau susah? Go and read the news on TV. Do you think that's an easy thing to do or a tough thing to do? What do you think? Senang. Yeah. Because every day you read books, you read your handphone, you read everything like this, down, you read down only. So just look up and read lah. Just from here to here, people find susah, hard to read the news. But just from reading this way to reading this way, people find it. But if you practice, you can do it, right? So that's where we talk about inspirational motivation. So to be a good leader, you must be able to inspire people. So have you got any questions on this? So do you know how to actually, the steps in motivating people? Always remember the basics of inspirational motivation. What is the benefit of the people? Not the benefit of somebody else. Okay, let's go to the next one. All right. Intellectual stimulation. So the next person read. Come. Your turn.
Intellectual stimulation, the ability to challenge assumptions, encourage creativity and inspire problem solving. Core idea, leaders foster a culture of innovation by encouraging new ideas and perspectives. Impact, increases adaptability, engagement, and continuous improvement. The example, Jeff Bezos, Amazon, encourages day one thinking to promote innovation and risk taking.
Okay. Thank you so much. Let's give her a big round of applause. Okay, so when it comes to the third I, which is called intellectual stimulation, is to get people to think creatively. Now, if you are actually doing sales in business and you actually have a way that you have been taught, so you want to come up with different ideas of how to do your work better. So the more ideas you have, the more ways you can generate business. So let's see if I actually do have a, hold on, let me see whether, let's put this to a test, and hopefully I have something here which I can test you. So let's have some creative thinking. What do I have in my hand? Fantastic. So each of you all take one. Take one. All right. So you and I know that a paper clip is used for clipping papers, for clipping documents, for clipping a lot of things. Now I want you to come up with 5 innovative ideas of how you can use a paper clip. This is to test your creative thinking. So I want you to write on your paper there, or any paper, 5 different ways of how to use a paperclip. You got a paperclip in front of you? Let's see in terms of how you are actually going to use a paperclip. So don't tell me anything to clip documents, to clip pages, to clip paper, to clip anything that is from a paper perspective. So 5 innovative ideas of how to think outside the box. Now, some people will say this one can actually open the lock, like you see in TV. But you go home and try for 1 year, you cannot open a lock. You will not be able to open a lock. So don't write that. It has to be something that is practical, something that can be done. Okay? So let's see 5 ideas, and then we will actually go and see who's got the best ideas. So let's do this individually, and then we'll see you come up with 5 different ideas. So you need to actually hold the paperclip, then the ideas come out. Why I had to give you a real paperclip is so that you can actually feel it and come up with the 5 ideas. So I'll give you 2 minutes to actually decide and come up with 5 ideas. It has to be a practical idea. How many of you have written already? Started writing? So to be a good leader, you must know how to stimulate yourself mentally, intellectually. How do you stimulate yourself? You must come up with ideas. You must be innovative. You must be creative. You must come up with different solutions using the same issue. So let's see. Fiza, have you written? Not yet start. Oh, okay. Don't worry. I'm not trying to pressure you. Arvin, have you written? Good. Simon, have you started? Fantastic. Ilyas, what about you? Still thinking? Okay. So some of you keep looking at the paperclip like that, trying to get the ideas. Okay, so let's continue. So now put the pens down. Everyone stop writing. Now, how many have you written? 6. Fantastic. 0. Okay. 1. 4. 0. Okay. All right. So let's go with the gentleman who has got the most. 6. I asked for 5. He's got 6. So it has to be 6 practical ways of using a paperclip. If it's not practical, we will scratch that answer. Okay, let's go, Simon. Self-defense weapon. Yeah, you can actually poke someone with a paperclip. Okay. Finger puppet.
Yeah, you can actually roll it up and use it as a frame for maybe a bunny.
Bunny, okay. Well, it's a bit difficult. Yeah, that one we KIV that one first. Okay, next one, the third one.
You can use as a needle to sew.
To sew. It's a bit difficult unless you nak jahit apa tu guni ya. Then mungkin boleh lah. Okay, the next one. Underwear holder. Oh, underwear hanger. Yeah. Practical. Can. It's practical. The next one.
Self-care tool.
Toothpick. Yeah, very practical. You can use it as an emergency toothpick if you open it up. So very practical. So it's about 4 so far.
And lastly, is a bookmark.
Bookmark cannot. Because why? I said don't clip paper. Hairpin accepted. Okay, so got 5 lah. Okay, Zero. Okay. Zero. Your one is what? What's the answer? To hang something. Okay. Hang a frame. Okay. How many? How many you have? Okay. What are your four? Bookmark out. Cannot. Remember, bookmark is in paper.
Put inside, just put inside. Don't flip, just put inside.
You
Manipulate,
KRV. Okay. Next one.
Can be as a ring accessory,
A ring. Okay. Practical.
earring,
Earring can.
and then as a book pointer.
Book pointer.
Pointer, you just point. Sometimes when you are getting old, you cannot see. As a
Okay.
pointer.
All right. Can. Zero, is it? Okay, zero. So do you notice that, when I ask you to actually think creatively, some people can, some people difficult. So to be a good leader, you must be very creative in your thinking. So if you actually look at that paper clip, you can use it for a lot of things. You can actually use it for a tie. You got a tie, you can use it like a tie clip. He said to clip it on the hair. Yes, you can use that. If your hem is open, you can actually clip it underneath here so that the hem doesn't come out. So there's many ways you can actually use it. If you actually see, you have a small one, you can actually take out your SIM card. You can poke here and take out the SIM card. So all practical ideas. So it's a matter of you, if you want to be a good leader, you must be very innovative in your thinking. Why it is important that sometimes when you have a solution, you have a problem, you want to come up with different solutions. That's where we talk about intellectual stimulation. So now did I stimulate you intellectually? Okay, I still need to actually stimulate these two people here. All right, don't worry, there's no wrong answers. Okay, next one. The last person who's going to read this. Individualized consideration. Yes.
Individualized consideration, personalized support, coaching, and development based on each team member's unique needs. Recognize and nurture individuals' potential rather than using a one-size-fits-all approach. Example is Richard Branson, Virgin Group, believe in empowering employees by giving them autonomy and mentoring them individually.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's give her a big round of applause. Okay, so what does this mean? It means as a leader, you need to actually have individual consideration for the staff. Let's just say you've got 5 people here. 5 of you all here. I am the sales manager. Nelson is the sales director. And out of these 5 people here, fully trained to actually, in terms of the knowledge of what the company is selling. But these 2 gentlemen cannot sell. And that gentleman can sell. These 2 ladies, also not much sales. So what do you think is lacking here? What do you think is lacking? Do you think it's product knowledge? But when you first came in, they would have actually taught you what? Product knowledge. Am I correct? And that gentleman can sell. So what do you think is lacking? Experience. Okay. What else? Product knowledge, you already been given product knowledge. So what do you think is lacking? These 2 gentlemen got the product knowledge. As a matter of fact, everybody got product knowledge. Some can sell, some cannot sell. So what do you think is lacking? Skills. What skill is lacking? Huh? Communication skills. All right. Communication skill could be a possible. What else is lacking? Influencing skills. Okay. What else do you think is lacking? Remember, there's no wrong answers. I'm just trying to get you to think. What do you think is lacking? The closing skills. People all got the knowledge, but they go out there and meet people and meet people and meet people and still cannot come back with a sale. Because they don't know how to close a sale. You know? So during your product training, they would have taught you how to communicate, right? But when it comes to closing skill, it's a very important skill in the sales line. Because in sales line, they talk about ABC. Fantastic. It's always be closing. The moment I step in, hi Simon, how are you? Thank you for inviting me to your office. Wow, you've got a very nice office here. I pujuk dia. Because ABC, always be closing. I'm trying to close from the very start by making sure the customer likes me. If I go into the house of someone and someone actually has got children jumping up on the TV, jumping up on the sofa, they say, wah kak, anak kakak ni memang jahat. You think I can close the sale? If I go inside the house, the son jumping on the TV, the daughter is playing with the vacuum cleaner, the other one jumping on the sofa. Wow, kak, I love your children. La. Very active, la, kak. So happy, la, you. Because ABC of closing. Always be closing. So the closing skill is missing. So that's where we talk about. Individualized consideration. So it doesn't mean that someone who already has got information, we try to give the same information. Already got product knowledge, next month no sales, okay, product knowledge some more. Third month no sales, product knowledge some more. How much you want to tambah the product knowledge? So maybe, so you have to consider different ways. So this is where we talk about in terms of individualized consideration. Any questions so far on the 4 I's? Can you remember the first I? What's the first I? Shout it out if you can remember. Idealize influence. That means you have to be doing things correctly so your staff idolize you. Number 2, inspirational motivation. So don't do manipulation. Third one, intellectual stimulation. And the last one is individualized consideration. It is not in systematic order, so you can actually mix it up. So it doesn't mean you have to remember 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's not in a priority listing. So when we come about here, if you can see from this, transformational leadership qualities basically is to focus on problems from a different perspective. So a good leader focuses on the problems from a very different perspective. The next quality is basically motivates and inspires employees. Don't manipulate employees, but motivate. I gave you a demonstration. You got any questions on that? The correct way of actually motivating people? What is the correct way of motivating someone? Yeah, for the benefits of the people themselves. The third one is, you see, encourage employees' innovation and creativity. You must be able to make sure that they are innovative and creative in terms of thinking. And of course, focus on personal development of the staff. So everybody has got a different development level. So I need to focus on that individual level. And the last one is be always proactive. Don't wait for the problem to happen before you are reacting. So be proactive. So far, any questions on transformational leadership qualities? Any questions? Okay, so let's go to the next slide. So this basically are the traits or characteristics of a transformational leader. I won't be reading the whole thing. I'll let your eyes read it for yourself. So a person who is inspirational, visionary, an innovative mindset? Done? You all have read it? So, when it comes to be a transformational leader, the important thing here is mindset. As you can see, mindset is very important. Now, when you're actually talking to people, you want people to actually have a growth mindset. Now, do you have a KPI that you need to achieve? Okay. So if you achieve your KPI, does that mean you have a growth mindset? Just a question. If you have a KPI, the company is giving you a KPI, and you achieve that KPI, does that mean you have a growth mindset? What do you think? Yes. What do you think? You don't know? What do you think? No. Fantastic. What do you think? Yes. Simon, what do you think? Huh? Okay. All right. So two people said no. So why no?
KPI based on action. Basically, mindset is something that leader thinks.
Okay. So let me, you gave the right answer, but let me just give you the explanation. Okay. So when somebody sets some target for you and you achieve that target, it means you just achieved the target. You achieve what is being set for you. A growth mindset means to be able to do things more than what is expected of you. So if you achieve the company target, means you have a fixed mindset. You know, company gives me, give me a KPI, please, Simon. Just a KPI for yourself so that I can explain.
10 calls, 3 meetings.
10 calls
3 meetings.
and 3 meetings.
10
Okay.
calls per day, 3 meetings.
Okay, so in a month, what's the monthly target?
300,000 in quarters.
Oh, that's a ringgit value, is it? 300,000 in quarter one. Okay. So if you achieve 300,000, what the company has said to you, that means you're achieving the company target. That means you have got a fixed mindset. You're fixed to what is already been given to you. If you think, no, I think with my experience I can do better than 300,000, that means you have a growth mindset. So a lot of people think achieving the company targets means I have a growth mindset. No, it means you actually have a fixed mindset. If you do something above and beyond given to you, that's a growth mindset. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So there's transformational leader as opposed to transactional leader. So when people talk about transformational leader, they talk about comparing it to transactional leader. Of course, the last one is laissez-faire. Laissez-faire means take it easy kind of leadership style. Laissez-faire. Do what you can. I will relax. I depend on your experience to go and get the sales. So basically, you can see from this. So if you can see, a transformational inspires and actually has a vision, sometimes empowers people. And of course, a transformational leader always looks in the long-term development of people. A transactional leader, I'll show you, give you an example of a transactional leader, and I'll give you an explanation of what is a transactional leader. And of course, you see from here, a transactional leader, basically the approach is always supervising people, right? And then here, the last one is a laissez-faire. Laissez-faire style is very minimal intervention. That means he doesn't take part in it. So let's go into explaining this one. What's the difference between this and this? So I'll go to the next slide first. to explain a little bit. And sometimes you see people practice this one, a transactional leadership style. Okay, Elias, what is your favorite football team since you are the sportsman? Arsenal, the Gunners, who became the Gunners, all gone already. Okay, they will lose to Liverpool. Okay, so of course, the Gunners, you've got Mikel Arteta, right? So Mikel Arteta runs the team, right? So when he runs the team, and if you are one of the players and you went late for the training, the normal training, what will happen to you? Punishment. Huh? So if you notice, that kind of leadership style, it practices either there is a punishment or there is a reward. Rewards and punishment. Every day you come in for the practice, there is a chance you, at the end of the week, you will get to play in the match. So basically, a transactional leader practices rewards and punishment. Rewards and punishment. So let's just say you are a factory manager. You are a factory manager, you are running a factory. The factory there has got all the machines, machinery, and all the factory workers are actually working. What happens to the staff that always come in late? Potong gaji kan? Yeah, so there is a punishment. And what happens to the staff that always comes in on time and does the production on time? There is a chance that that person will get promoted. So basically, a transactional leader practices rewards and punishment. Where's rewards? Rewards and punishment kind of incentive. Now, do you think this is practical in an organization like this? If you come in late to work, potong gaji, do you think it's good? It's not good, right? So certain companies, certain organizations, they can practice transactional leader. Certain companies, they cannot practice it. So let's say you are the general in the army and you are actually fighting a war and you actually ask your soldiers to go and attack a hill. All the soldiers must listen, right? The soldiers cannot decide, I think I'll come in after lunchtime. Everybody has got to do the same thing. So the general will expect everybody to follow the rules and the regulations. Nobody can come in at their own time. So this one is where you talk about following the instructions, rules and regulations, guidelines, and everything has got to be followed. Now, do you think it's practical to have it here in this organization? Do you think it's practical? Well, in a normal organization, it's not so practical to actually have this kind, because sometimes maybe somebody who has got some personal thing at home, they want to come in a little bit late to work, and they actually want to leave a little bit late. So we practice individualized consideration, transformational leader. Here, everybody is the same. So you will not have people actually doing things differently. So you will see from the 4 components of transactional leadership, you can see here, they are very focused on results, but not on building relationships. When it comes to a corporation, very much is in terms of building long-term relationships. This kind of one, if you notice that here, it's a very directive approach, and they don't think in terms of the long haul. So let's go back to the football case. Do you think Mikel Arteta is thinking of your captain? What's the captain's name? Odegaard. Do you think he's thinking of Odegaard 3 years from now? Do you think he's thinking of that? He's just thinking of winning next week's match. He's only thinking until end of this season. Then next season, maybe if Odegaard is not good, kick him out, get a new captain, get a new player in. So a transactional leader is very short term. A transformational leader thinking is long term. If you want to be a transformational leader, I'm thinking of how I can develop you now from being a admin staff to one day being a manager of the admin. I'm thinking long term. So transformational thinks long term, transactional things short term. If the general in the army, do you think he's interested to think about the soldier long term? When is he going to become the general? No, he's only thinking of now, winning the war. That's all. So when you are actually working in an organization, you want to practice transformational leader, not this transactional leadership style. So let's go to the next one. Okay, so here we have the traits or characteristics of a transactional leader. So do you know who's the first one? Bill Gates. So his leadership style is very transactional leader. This general here is a very difficult name to pronounce. Yeah, this general, he was the general during the Kuwait War when the Iraq invaded Kuwait, and during that time he was the general of the forces there, where they actually had to make sure they kick out Iraq from Kuwait. So this one. So these are the qualities, as you can see here, for a transactional leader. But one thing it is actually common in both is that both also are results driven. But how do they get the results? That's the important thing. One is actually building relationships. One is actually making sure people are working for their own benefit. This one here, if you notice, also getting results, but they go about it differently. So both are results driven. Now let's go to the third one. Yeah. So today we are going to learn about transformational leaders. So I won't go very much into other leadership styles, but I want to make short comparisons so you can understand. So this one, these two guys, do you know who are these two guys? Warren Buffett. Do you know who is he? Yeah, he's an investor in, what's the company that he invests in? No, Hathaway. His company. He's our client, investment fund person. So he invests a lot. He's at one time he was the world's richest man. Before Elon Musk, a long time ago, he was the world's richest man. This was the president of the USA at one time, and these are basically their qualities. So I will let you all read. So I'll let, who is this? Simon read the last one. Simon?
Last point.
No, I mean all the points here.
Has high trust level with the team to carry out their tasks diligently and effectively. Team members make decisions based on what is best for themselves. Practice a hands-off approach to their style of management. Freedom for the employees to explore their innovative ideas.
Okay. So if you notice here, this leadership style lets the staff decide what is best for themselves. Transformational leader decides what is best for the organization. So among these three, if you notice, transformational leadership style is the best. So why I just put this one in, I don't want to emphasize, because you don't want to have an organization like this deal too much in transactional or laissez-faire leadership. Okay, so now I will, hopefully I have a laissez-faire. Now, Okay, that's a good question. Why laissez-faire is not good? If I have got a group of people that are very experienced and very knowledgeable, then I can depend on them to do the right thing. If I have a group like here, basically, this gentleman is an intern. That means he doesn't have any experience. Now, just imagine if I was to leave it like this and allow this sales team to run by itself. Do you think he will learn a lot? Yeah. So it will not be practical to actually run it in a laissez-faire leadership style. So that's the reason why a transformational leader will be very good in running this team. So if I'm going to be transformational, you've got how many years experience you have? Simon? 5 years. Now, so if I'm going to run this sales team example, I will actually motivate him to continue doing his good job. But I cannot motivate this gentleman because he's only 3 days in the company. So individualized consideration, because this gentleman, I need to actually coach him and mentor him. You get what I'm trying to say? Yeah, so mentorship for this training and coaching. For this gentleman, mentoring is enough because he doesn't have to go under coaching and training. I think I got a slide there to actually explain. So that's why having a laissez-faire kind of leadership style is really not suitable when you actually have a mixed group of people. Unless I have a group of people with your experience here, 5 years each, then I can actually have a hands-off approach. So did I answer your question? Fantastic. Okay, so I hope this video plays. Let's see. So before I play this video for you, I just want to share with you that this video is in two parts. Have you watched the movie Braveheart? No, huh? Okay. So basically, Braveheart, this is the leader of this first clip is showing you a leader. And this leader, he is the leader of the Scottish people during a long time ago. And they were fighting the English. So you can see from this leadership style, he leads from the front. But the start of this video clip, it shows you another video clip where it shows a leadership style also. It's about General Lee during the American Civil War. The American Civil War was fought between the Union and the Confederates. You know, basically the South was against the South was for slavery, and their Union was against the slavery. So this is where they were actually fighting. So you see two leadership styles, and you can distinguish which is the transformational and which is the transactional. So let's play this. If it, so which leadership style is this?
Look here.
I think the Wi-Fi connection is not strong.
Yankee Center, stone wall, small growth of trees.
General Trimble, command of Pender's division, will be on the left.
Pickett's brigade in support. General Pickett's division will be on the right side of the attack. Now, George, I want you to put 2 brigades in front and 1 in back, like so.
Yes, sir. Thomas Brigade, that's Jimmy Temple. Armistead's in support.
Good, all right then. Garnet will dress off a Trimble's flank. He will be the hinge, so to speak, in a series of left obliques. Somewhere about the Emmitsburg Road, you will execute your first left oblique, then direct, then left again, and so on at your own discretion, in order to deceive the Yankees and spread them out in a long line. Here. Any questions? All right.
I am William Wallace, and I see a whole army of my countrymen here in defiance of tyranny. You've come to fight as free men. Free men you are. What will you do on freedom? Will you fight? Against that? No. We will run. We will live. Fight and you may die. Run. You'll live. At least a while. And dying in your beds, many years from now, would you be willing to trade all the days from this day to that for one chance, just one chance, to come back here and tell our enemies that they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom?
Okay? Okay, let's go to the next slide. Just give me a moment. Let me go back to my slides. Okay, so you saw two leadership styles. Which one do you think was inspiring the people? The first was the first video clip or the second video clip? Because he was inspiring, even though they didn't want, they were inspired by how he actually said. So if you have seen the three leadership styles I've explained, which leadership style is suitable for you when you become a leader? Is it transformational, transactional, or laissez-faire? For you, Simon, which one is it? Situational. Okay. So how do you actually rate situational?
I think transactional, that one is, depends on what motivates them, I guess. And yeah.
Okay.
Transformative, I think, transformational, I think at the start it'd be quite hyped up. So I think that is useful as well. So I guess both.
Okay. All right. What about you? Which you think is suitable for you once you are in a leadership role? Transactional leadership. And what about you? Transformational. Okay. What about you? Transformational. And what about you? Transformational. Okay. So we got a majority here is in terms of practicing transformational leadership style. So now let's go to the next part that we actually want to actually explain to you. The impact of transformational leadership. So now I actually explain to you when you said situational, like I said, there's no such thing as a wrong answer here. So a situational leadership would be based on the staff itself. Am I correct? Now, if you actually put this in transformational, do you remember there's one I said, individualized consideration? That means different people have got different requirements. So that's where the transformational part comes in. So situational leadership is considered a little bit outdated for now 2025. We are moving into 2025. And so when we move into 2025, what happens is that we are dealing in a role of Generation X, Generation Y, which is called the millennials, and Generation Z. Generation Alpha, who should be 11 to 12 years old, they not yet enter the school yet, not yet enter into the workforce yet, and Generation Beta not yet born yet, only going to be born this year, 2025. So if you notice, situational, autocratic leadership, democratic leadership was actually practiced during the baby boomers' time. Those who are baby boomers, so X, Y, and Z, then we actually practice transformational leader. Now, why I say transformational leader? So I'll just give you an example where you actually practice this. Now, if you're going to, if you're going to start work, and we don't talk about you first, we talk about your dad, your father, your parents, your dad. If your dad was to start work at 9 o'clock, what time will your dad be in the office? Before 9. Correct? Yeah. So that is because they were born in the baby boomer age. So what you can do is practice situational leadership, autocratic leadership style, where you tell people what to do. Now, when you actually have an interview, to interview a new person, you know what the first thing they ask you? This job can work from home. During your father's time, you ask your dad whether he actually asked his boss can work from home. There is no such word called work from home. Now the people who come to work, they're X, Y, and Z. The first thing they ask you, can I work from home? And you are thinking work from home means sit in the house. They are thinking work from home is to sit by the beach side, sit by the pool side, and do the work. So different way of thinking. So when you have different people, you have to change your leadership style. So that's the reason. So we can practice the old way, but what happens is that there is a possibility we will lose the generation X, Y, and Z in terms of working for us. So now let's go to the impact of transformational leader. This 3 slides before we can go into. Okay, so I'll finish these 3 slides and then we shall actually take a break. Okay, so the impact on employee engagement. So just now, Simon did ask, about practicing, what was it, laissez-faire leadership or situational leadership, right? So if you just notice the impact on transformational leader on a staff itself. So you can actually see the impact here. Maybe, Simon, you want to read this slide?
Impact on employee engagement, employees feel valued and empowered. A leader who regularly recognizes achievements and encourages professional growth leads to higher job satisfaction.
Okay, so thank you so much. So if you notice that if you practice this transformational leader, it's got a positive impact on your employee. That means a positive impact on the people that report to you. So practicing this is good. As you said, you want to practice transactional. I won't change your mind on it. But by the end of the course, we'll see whether you are still sticking to transactional leadership. Okay. All right, the next one is the impact on organizational performance. You want to read this, my friend?
Impact on organizational performance. Transformational leaders create a vision that inspires action. A CEO who aligns employees with a shared mission and values leads to increased productivity and retention.
Okay, so here we're talking about in terms of the organization itself. How does your leadership style affect your company. So if you actually look at this here, there's an example there of how a CEO who practices transformational leader can have a positive effect on the employees. So if you are actually practicing transformational leader, you will actually have a positive impact on the organizational performance. And of course, the last slide I want to go through is this before we move on to the next module and we take a break, is the impact on innovation. So if you notice earlier, I was trying to and see whether you're creative and innovative in terms of thinking, right? I think Simon came up with six ways of actually how to use a paperclip, which was very good. Usually in a class, what we do is we ask for 12. But 6 is considered good. But the other 2 people, it's not a problem, but it's just to start off thinking innovatively. Yeah? So where it tries to actually have a positive impact on innovation. So just imagine if your staff are very innovative in thinking. You don't have to think of solutions. They can actually think of solutions to solve a issue. So when you practice transformational leadership, it's got a very, very positive effect on the team. So with that, we will take a break. Okay, so we will now break for a while. And of course, you are not going to actually have a drink except one person. And then we will come back here within 5 minutes. Okay?